just to welcome everyone and thank you for coming tonight. It's an important meeting that a small committee of the Trades Council have set up. My name is Chris Neville. I'm a delegate from Unite and the president of Manchester Trades Council. Today we've had Mike Masters, who's a rep from the Birmingham bin strike, who's been up in Manchester and has been doing various workplace visits around Greater Manchester to build solidarity for the strike. We can probably all agree that this is the most important strike in Britain at the minute, which is why meetings like this are essential to drum up solidarity, support. If your branch hasn't donated, please get back to your trade union branch, your next meeting, and do all you can to get them to make a significant donation. It is a very important strike. And I think this strike is quite representative of the political climate that we live in, where a group of workers, through no fault of their own, is being asked to pay for the failures of a council, and a council that is no longer democratically accountable to the local people. And of course, it is also a representation of the disgraceful conduct of the Labour Party nationally, who do have the ability to settle this, but are deciding not to. With great pleasure, if can everyone give a big warm welcome to Mike Masters, who's a rep from the Birmingham Council Bins.
Yeah, good evening. I'm Mike Masters, a Unite rep from Perry Bar. Thank you for inviting me to talk tonight. Let me start with these words. I'm proud to be working with a talented team that has vision, ability, and experience to really take this city forward. Friends, those are the words of Birmingham City Council leader John Cotton. When he was elected on the 23rd of May 2003, and then in September, Birmingham City Council issued a 114 notice declaring £760 million worth of debt bankruptcy. The then Tory government steps in, and Michael Gove instructs a group of commissioners to go to Birmingham to put right what the Labour Council had done wrong. 6 commissioners, with Max Keller leading, they planned the restructure of Birmingham City Council, expecting to last 5 years. Birmingham City Council then passed budget cuts, the largest in local authority history, cutting 600 jobs, council tax rises by 21% for 2 years, child services and adult social care to suffer. July 2024, Labour take control of government. Labour now control Birmingham City Council with the power to dismiss the 6 commissioners, who have now cost the residents of Birmingham £1,200 a day for Max Caller and £1,000 a day for the others, with an overall cost of £2 million. Angela Rayner, instead of dismissing them, they continue to carry on their work inside a Labour council. A decision is then made by Birmingham City Council to effectively cut the worker roll, the role being responsible for the safety at the back of the vehicle. Cutting this role has caused workers to lose up to £8,000 a year, which is £650 a month. This is mortgages or rents. This is sitting in the front room with your kids or sitting under a cardboard box under a bridge. On the 6th of Jan, we balloted to take 3-day action, hoping to find a resolution, but to no avail. The council offering £1,000 to cover the 8k loss. March the 11th saw us move to all-out strikes. In this time, driver team leaders like myself have now been told to expect the grade to be reevaluated, causing losses of £10,000. Birmingham City Council believe the best way out of debt is to put the workers into debt. We work for the biggest council in Europe, but are constantly paying for their mistakes. The same people who refuse to enter a room and negotiate our pay, terms, conditions, and our futures. Joanne Roney is now MD of Birmingham City Council, a Brummie like me, who grew up on the same council estate as me, asking the people of Birmingham to trust her while attacking working class people. She stated that 15 years of neglect caused discriminatory pay, failed IT systems, massive losses on housing in Perry Bar, but rejects a public inquiry. So, Joanne Roney, if Birmingham is in your interest, then why are you attacking its workers? They, Birmingham City Council, gave themselves a 5.7% pay rise. So I say, let the fat cats pay. Let them pay out of their mega salaries. They have turned the biggest council in Europe to the biggest joke in Europe. Why should we have to pay and be forced into austerity? This, to me, growing up in the 80s, is a throwback to Thatcherism. Smash the unions, you'll smash the workers, and all being governed by imposters claiming to be for the working class, claiming to be Labour. We cannot let ghosts of the past dictate our future. We've been forced into a fight not of our making, but a fight we will win. This dispute has been compared to strikes of the past. Let's make this one the strikes of our future, a future with no worry, fear, a future where we work to live and not live to work. Why should we be the favourites in a race to the bottom? Our employer has not only took our pay, but now have attacked our right to strike, right to demonstrate, right and our dignity. They have issued Section 14s, hired security guards, installed CCTV, police on the picket line, and more recently, an injunction. False allegations against reps resulting in wrongful arrests, and recently a rep, myself, being dismissed, and all at a cost of £300 million. I say this, the only weapon we have in our hands is the weapon to protest. So I say thank you to all our brothers and sisters who have shown solidarity. Thank you. And to unite for their unwavering support. And finally, and more importantly, our families in these difficult times, your unconditional love and support is a tower of strength to us all. Thank you, and solidarity.
I'm going to hand over to Pete Randle, who is an organiser for United, has been very, very close to this dispute. Over to you, Pete.
I believe this is the biggest dispute in the UK at the moment. I'll probably right in saying it's probably going to be one of the biggest disputes of the decade. This is huge in the way that the refuse workers in Birmingham, they're not out for any pay rise. They simply want to keep what they've got. It's as simple as that. This is a Labour government, a Labour council. They weren't this bad under the Tories. And I never thought in my lifetime I would say that. We are fighting the enemy within. Okay? I understand and know firsthand what it's like to fight a Labour council. I also, sadly, understand Keir Starmer's intentions. He wasn't Prime Minister at the time where I led the Coventry dispute, but knew what his actions and what he represented at the time. He sneered at working class people on a picket line. That is totally unacceptable, and he should never, ever in a million years be our Prime Minister. These workers, our members in Birmingham, as I say, they're out there to keep what's theirs. They're also out there to protect our class and any worker that is in a trade union protected. They are the dam where they're holding that water back. If that water goes, it's going to spill right across the UK. Remember those words. It is going to spread. It's going to spill. It's a disease. This government is a disease. Now, what do we do with diseases? We try and get rid of them. That is exactly what needs to happen to these people in Parliament at the minute and the government. The fact that they're standing in there wanting to cut PIP to disabled people, wanting to take the winter fuel allowance off the vulnerable and OAPs, they're simply a disgrace. They're attacking our class and they need out. You've got Angela Rayner, not too far from here. I've seen a couple of Unison members in here tonight. The Unison sweetheart. Really? Really? I wish she'd come out and show what a sweetheart she is and get this dispute resolved. She's under these over these commissioners that were brought in by the Tories to a bankrupt council under a Section 114. Or is that just simply a way out for councils these days to withhold people's wages and continue the race to the bottom? Whether you're a bin man, a bin lady, a lollipop lady, a care worker, someone that's there cooking the meals for the children. They all they all should be on a fair wage. It's not simply good enough that we blame the Tories for 14 years of austerity. What are we going to do? Blame 19 years on them after this government? Because the way it's going, they are not going to be in government for much longer. They're handing over the baton to reform, and it's a very, very dangerous motive of what this Labour government are doing. It wouldn't surprise me in the slightest if we see Labour MPs crossbench very soon. It wouldn't surprise me, because the way that these are acting, and I said it in 2022, they're part of the same cheek of the same arse. And that is as simple as it gets in my time. Okay? I'm a son to a miner. I'm a grandson to a miner. These things should not be happening under a Labour government. It's shameful in what is happening. It is an absolute disgrace. They talk about equal pay claims in Birmingham. Well, if it's an equal pay claim, give the bloody women a pay rise that they demand fairly, that keeps up with the men. It's not a race to a bottom. This should not be austerity part 2. We've been there before. Let's learn from history. Let the Labour government learn from history. And the way that I firmly believe, yes, there will be a Labour-ship challenge. I believe that. I believe that's going to happen. But it's too little too late. These people have been around them, flocking around sheep like wolves. Think of the people that they've gone for, the vulnerable. And yes, it is very political in what I'm speaking about at the moment, but it needs to be said. It needs to be said. Now, our members are out, and they've been out now for 6 months. You've got John Cotton, who's playing the hide-and-seek champion at the minute. He's never, ever been to a negotiation meeting. He's meant to be the leader of the council. He's hiding behind the commissioners, like I say, that Michael Gove brought in when the Section 114 notice went in. They've used West Midlands Police as a private security firm. Up to 30 officers on a picket line. Yet you can't get an officer to a burglary. So 30 officers treating picketers like criminals. You remember in the miners' strike where the picketer stood there at the copper's face to say, "You'll be next." Let's hope they are. Let's hope they are. Let's hope that they go to the way that they need to go as well. Because at the end of the day, they've been like the pack of wolves around sheep at times. Grabbing picketers up the wall. Issuing the Section 14 notices. And let me tell you something. Mispolicing. Misuse of power. Correct me when I say this name, because I'm not very good at pronouncing it. Suella Braverman, or whatever her name were, Tory, tried to put something in about protest. And it collapsed through the High Court because Liberty took it on. And the threshold weren't met in Birmingham. It weren't met. They were spouting out about Section 14, where they are arresting individuals on that picket line because they confronted the way that they was policing. They didn't like it, so they thought they'd try and take away some of these individuals from picket lines and give them bail conditions. Bail conditions were that they couldn't attend the 3 pickets. That weren't a political move, was it? Could go anywhere within the city but the 3 picket lines. Anyway, the Section 14 failed, so they decided that they were going to go with the injunctions. As of yesterday, the organisers, part of our team, and some of the, let's say, activists, have found a loophole within the injunction, and we're now blocking the trucks back in, outside the injunction part. That message needs to be very clear, friends, to this corrupt council in Birmingham. If you want to hide, we're going to come and find you. If you want to hide your trucks, we're going to go and find them. If you want to operate a scab labour in Tom White, the same company, by the way, that tried to break our dispute in 2022, okay, pride themselves on breaking disputes in union busting, we'll find you as well. We'll find you as well. In fact, we've already found you, okay? We will keep on them like a rash. You'll see this docket that's been put out, the mega picket. The first mega picket was very successful down at Lifford Lane, where activists right across the UK, Scotland, and beyond came down in the coach droves. It shut the site down for a day. It shut the site down. Now, let me just say something from someone who's been on strike of what solidarity is. I know we speak of solidarity and we see solidarity, but let me tell you something. When you feel solidarity, it means the world to striking workers and their families. So thank you for that. The five pickets one day is obviously listed below. The right-hand side is the scab operation, of which is being used now as Tom White's HQ. It'd be very nice if we could show a little bit of movement there. The Veolia incinerator is something that will be a bit later on in the day, obviously where the vehicles go to tip. Perry Bar Depot, of which Mike's located at. We've got Lifford Lane listed. Lifford Lane's a bit of a strange situation at the minute. Anyone that knows Birmingham, you've got a bit of wasteland. Well, I say a bit of wasteland. You could put half the universe in it. Is that big? No. They're roughly keeping 80 bin wagons in there at the moment, where the drivers are being paid the clean air zone by the employer, a sum of roughly £9 a day, which again, normal working people wouldn't be given that loyalty pass. But this council find that the agency workers, which are currently operating at 60%, they're in breach of Regulation 7 of the Working and Business Act. Obviously, agency workers cannot replace a striking worker whilst they're taking industrial action. However, this is a Labour council, a Labour government, seem to do what they want. They don't look like they're going to be finding themselves anytime soon. So again, this is the sort of thing we're working against at the moment. Lifford Lane, so Lifford Lane, they're working out of this bit of wasteland. The drivers are then coming to Lifford Lane to pick up the rest of the scabs to go out and do their bit of scabbing for the day, however you want to word it. I've got some stronger words that I'd like to use, but I'm not going to use it for the meeting today. And you've got Atlas Depot, a multi-million-pound building, of which has just been built by the organisation at the moment. Again, they're a bankrupt organisation, but they can facilitate facilities like such. Roughly bringing in 30 to 40 bin wagons in at the moment, which are all brand new. Again, they find the money for that, but it looks like they're trying to get working class people to pay for that as we speak. So back to the Section 114 bankruptcy notice. The very people of which bankrupt the council have kindly given themselves a 5.7% pay increase. So they've given 5.7% for them, but they want the worko role, which is the critical safety role at the back of the bin wagon, which are the eyes and ears of the refuse cart and the driver, to be honest with you. There was an incident in Coventry where a gentleman that I knew very well lost his life, and that was where he went into the crush zone. At the time of this incident, there was a scab driver that was kept on during our dispute that worked for Tom White, where the council employed him, believed he was such a good driver. Whilst he was carrying out the duties of driving, he was looking down at his phone and not obviously looking at the technology inside the cab that is meant to save the lives of the collectors at the back. The simple hand of the emergency button could have saved this individual's life. The worko role is simply that as well. It's the other carrier which is on the back that's looking after the safety of the driver, the general public, and also the other work colleague of which is on the back of that vehicle. Okay, don't need me to tell you that if a vehicle of such size, compaction on the back of the vehicle that could crush a car by its crush mechanism, you know, it's imperative that you have the right safety people at the back of these vehicles. It's the most reversed HGV vehicle on the planet, okay? And it's also the biggest HGV vehicle that you will see within your communities going down your street on a daily basis, or every other day. You're going to have these sort of vehicles operating in around your communities, around schools, libraries, if you're lucky enough to still have one. But yeah, again, that's another matter of where the communities are being attacked. But yeah, they're losing up to £8,000 removing the worko role. Lo and behold, not long after, something else came to fruition, of which we were waiting for. Obviously, in local authority, we work under the national agreement, which is the Green Book. And every council employee is bounded by that agreement. However, Birmingham City Council seem to think that they can come out of that agreement, start making their own little rules up as they go along without consultation, and basically try and impose things on our members. And it won't be accepted. We do not take striking lightly. When our members go onto a picket line, it's to win. It's to win. We've got a ratio at the minute where we're winning 85% of our disputes over the last 2 years. Okay, we're putting money in the pockets of our members, and when it comes to this strike, we're going to make sure that our members keep what's theirs in their back pockets as well. Just touching on the drivers, they're losing up to £10,000 a year. Okay, this is life-changing money. This is life-changing money. This is going to be the difference between individuals keeping their homes and losing their homes. There's individuals there at the moment that have already put the houses on the market, and they feel that they're going to have to go into rented accommodation. Okay, this is an absolute disgrace in what's going on. It really is. You've got the old convener within Birmingham City Council that's turned into one of the managers that seems to be thriving on trying to union bust. And again, there's a picture of a rat on there. We'll let you work out who that one's aimed at, but yeah, I think it was very, very obvious who it was aimed at when we were waiting for him to come back from Mexico, and that was sat there waiting for him at 3:30 in the morning. Always promised the reps he'd never cross a picket line. We caught him in the act that morning. Obviously, I won't mention names due to yeah. Anyway, yeah, try and get yourselves down to the mega picket. You know, like I say about solidarity, if we can take that back to branches, and you know, it'll mean the world to our members that are out there. We are going to up the ante a little bit more out there, and we'll continue to do so until this dispute's won.
Ian Allinson from Unison Greater Manchester Transport branch. So me and Mike spent today going round workplaces. It's worth saying this morning Mike was over in Sheffield supporting the bin workers there who are also on strike and having a really rough time. And you're saying there were 10 of them there from Birmingham going up to support the Sheffield workers, which is just brilliant, isn't it? So before we even got started, and part of the point of doing something like this is it makes people talk about the dispute. And before we even got there, Chris's branch, United Service Industries, had agreed to donate £5,000 to the strike fund, which is absolutely fantastic. Then our first visit was unplanned. We just popped into the Hyde Road bus depot, Metroline, and saw the stewards there. They wrote a cheque on the spot for £200. Then we went up to Fujitsu in Newton Heath, where we were only able to see a couple of people, but we got £20 of cash, and they're talking about it in their branch meeting. We went to the FBU at Manchester Central Community Fire Station and had a really good chat there, and got support there as well. Then we went up to Bolton, where the NEU Northwest was running a training course, and they not only got all the new stewards who were on the training course, but everybody working in the building as well to come and listen to Mike explain about the dispute. Obviously they're all taking it back to their NEU districts to try and get donations. But one of the things we've done for the first time today was use the Trades Council's card reader to collect money for the dispute rather than just doing cash. And that proved very effective at that, because hardly anybody had any cash, and there were lots of 5s and 10s and 20s coming in through the card reader. And then while we were driving back from there, we got a phone call from the Unite Construction branch, who sent their apologies for tonight, who have been in touch to donate £500. And then we went to my own workplace at Transport for Greater Manchester, where the branch had just agreed £250 as well. So I think it gives a flavour that right across the movement there's stuff going on. I know lots of people here have been doing things before today as well. You know, I talk about RMT at Piccadilly, done some fantastic work, which hopefully people will talk about later. And we got stuff planned for tomorrow, which I don't know, may or may not happen now. We'll see what happens when Mike comes back in. But I think it really shows the level of support it is. People appreciate what an important dispute it is. We have to make sure it wins. And as you know, both Chris and Pete said, you know, the political dimension of it is massive, because how is it that when, you know, you get an injunction against workers trying to picket and block, block vehicles, scab vehicles, they can get that like that. And yet, you know, I'm sure when Mike comes in, he'll talk about a manager can drive a truck at him and knock him over, and they're still at work, right? Not a disciplinary, not a charge, nothing, right? And you've got agencies that it's illegal, isn't it, for them to provide labour to break a strike. They're doing it. Where's the enforcement? So we know we can't rely on the law to fix this. We've got to rely on solidarity. So it's great to see so many of you here tonight.
I'm a member of the RMT at Manchester Piccadilly, and just want to describe a little bit what we've been doing in solidarity with the binmen. Okay. We've had people go down to the picket line, mainly to Lifford Lane. We've had a branch donation. But I think the most important thing we did was draw up a solidarity card, picture of the picket line, a picture of the RMT at a different picket line and such like. And it was from the union. And we went around the station and we got 116 different workers to sign the card. When you get out there and do that, you find quite a challenge. A lot of people say, isn't that over? Or they say, it's a pay dispute, isn't it? You know, so that people aren't fully clear what it's about. But when you describe it, there was the solidarity that we saw. But I've been stressing two things in the last few days, and people I've been talking to about this thing, about the strike, that there's two important things. One, that they're picketing properly. They're slow walking pickets. They're trying to stop the lorries. This is a kind of sustained picketing that we've not seen in the trades union movement for some time. You know, when the public sector strikes happened on the rail, you know, we had picket lines of 50 or 100 people, but we were at the end of the road blowing vuvuzelas, waving flags and things like that. We weren't impacting production. So I think that's very important. And the second thing that's important is that they're traveling the country now. I mean, maybe Pete can say a bit more about it, but there's all different towns and cities that they've been to. They're fighting for solidarity. And those two things are things that we haven't had for many years. And I know Mike, he's not here. This came up at the Liverpool meeting that he spoke about. And he said a very important comment. He said, some people say that we're getting back to how it used to be. But what Mike said is, no, we're setting the tone for the future. And that's why the fight for solidarity with this strike is very important.
Now, I just would like to also describe, because I met Pete and Danny Taylor, was another rep, in Warrington at the Alpla strike. They're a plastics packaging factory. And while we were there, you know, Danny and Pete, they came in the car, they got out the car, they started introducing themselves to the strikers. And then one of the pickets, you know, one of the guys on strike from that factory, he went round with a bucket collecting money from the strikers, and they, not sure how much they collected, but I think it was over 300 quid. So, you know, it's, and I just thinking also where I work, I think what people really, they really look to you guys as a bit of an example, you know, because we're facing attacks on our wages, conditions. So they're really, you know, really inspiring. So I just would like to say, just keep going. We're all behind you.
Hiya everyone. I wanted to come here tonight to support the Birmingham bin strikers. I was there last Thursday. I sit on the Unite's local authority committee. So we went down to the Atlas picket and we actually broke the section 14 because we walked through the yard, and I've never seen so many new bin carts for a council that is actually broke. Yeah, I'm sorry, but there's a lot of money there that can be made, they could sell off for. But what I want to say is, you know, when we were there and we spoke to the workers who were on strike, the organisation, the collectivism is so strong. All I would say is, for those in Unite, if you've got people at policy conference, please ask them to support the emergency motion that is going in over the Birmingham bin strike. So we need 56 signatures, and it will be circulating just before the meeting starts. So it's really important that we do this. Just to Mike as well, and Pete, Claire Rudge, she's a great, amazing convener. And, you know, Claire is going to be fighting your corner at every single stage. She's already in our local national WhatsApp group, and we will be looking to do an emergency NISC to see how Unite can use not only its political leverage, but also any legal leverage to bring Birmingham City Council to heel. So solidarity all.
Yeah, just to touch on some of the solidarity as well. The FBU, the first mega picket, Steve Wright, the General Secretary of the FBU. The FBU was contacted by the council asking them to scab on these refuse drivers. And one of the feedback at the mega picket, where he said that there's no chance any member of the FBU will cross a picket line to break strikes. If anything, you got more chance of fire brigades pouring petrol on fires. I thought that absolutely set the I thought that, you know, set the scene very well. And the support from our General Secretary, Sharon Graham, has been absolutely phenomenal. And in this dispute, anything that the members have needed, it's been given, and it will continue to be that way. So yeah, look forward to seeing you on a picket line. Solidarity.
Cheers, Pete. Thanks. I mean, we have just got a question. I think you might have briefly touched on this. I don't know if you want to say anything else on this, but Barry has put in a chat online. Do you see this, like, are you fighting the government here through the commissioners who have taken over the responsibility of the city's finances?
Yeah and no. Let's not forget there's still a Labour leader of a Labour council, John Cotton. Okay, you'll see a petition going around, "Where's Cotton?" People dressed up as "Where's Wally?" Yeah. So at the end of the day, he's the leader of the council. He can make a political decision. That's what a Labour a council leader does. It doesn't matter what rosette they wear. Don't matter what rosette they wear. If they're there to be leading, then start leading. Yes, the commissioners have been bought in. They've been bought into an eye-watering sum of £1,400 a day. And that's being paid by the taxpayers of Birmingham. And they are employed by Angela Rayner. Angela Rayner is the one. So Maxi Axe is the lead commissioner. We recently found out that Maxi Axe, well, Max Caller is his name, lives in Middlesex, has nothing to do with Birmingham, doesn't care about Birmingham, clearly. His son also works in Angela Rayner's office. Ho, ho, ho. Anyway, the commissioners can make the decision. John Cotton can make a political decision as the leader. And you're absolutely right. Yeah, we are fighting the government as well. I think it's evident that that's the case by the amount of police that stand on the picket lines as a security firm and the way that they're acting. But again, it's a Keir Starmer government. And yeah, it was always going to be the way, weren't it? But yeah, they're there to be beat, just like the council.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Not everybody might know me. My name is Marcus. I'm a branch officer for Unite, and I'm also an organizer for We Demand Change. I want to make an argument for how we can actually keep building this and keep making it bigger, because the last mega picket was a big success. And I mean, one of the only ways that I actually can contribute to making this bigger is by bringing in a broader layer of people who are not necessarily trade unionists, but are involved in politics, but who are activists, who are in the grassroots campaigns, who are in the anti-war movement, and all the other different campaigns that are out there, because these are militant people and who want to get out. Because actually, in my workplace in Birmingham, I'm actually fighting a losing battle to get the people in my trade union who are members of Unite in Birmingham out to the bin strike picket, which is obviously appalling, but I think it speaks to the fact that a lot of people still don't see every worker's battle as their own battle. So I think it's a message to the people in the room, obviously, to think beyond the kind of core group of people who you're able to mobilize every time, and to think, who can I mobilize and who's a broader layer of people I can bring to this. So We Demand Change in Manchester is planning to organise transportation down. Last time we sent a delegation of, I think, 6 people for the first mega picket. That was called on very short notice. This time we have plenty of notice, and there's free accommodation that is being organised by Strike Map. So we're hoping that we can organise a minibus, if not more, to send plenty of people down and shut it down across the 5 different sites. So thank you.
There's one thing I want to read out. So I see Dax, who's a TSSA member, has put, I want to relay my admiration and respect to the striking Unite workers at Birmingham City Council. I hope this gets resolved very soon. Has Unite started legal action against BCC or the companies for using these agency workers to break this lawful strike?
I just want to personally thank Pete, who visited our picket line 2 weeks ago at Manchester Met University. So, and just to introduce myself, I'm Chris Dale. I'm chair of Unison at Manchester Met, and it was really inspiring to have Pete. And was it Mike that came down as well? Danny's came down as well. Yeah, they gave some amazing speeches to our picketers on our day, and it was a really good show of solidarity, not just across cities, but across union borders as well, which we in our branch have always believed in. We support any local disputes, no matter what union is running them, if we can get along to them in Manchester. And I've been talking about your disputes in our general meetings to our members, and it's been, greeted with shock and disgust from our members, as it should be. And I'll be taking this away to our next branch committee meeting later this month, to hopefully get some financial support for you guys as well, since we haven't had a chance since the strike days. So.
But just before you come in on that, I just think Marcus's point about mobilising for the mega picket is very important. It's something we need to be taking seriously and putting a lot of effort into. So we're just wondering, Marcus, what can we do practically today, I think, and tonight, because I'm sure there'll be some people in this room who are interested in that, about trying to organise something or to link something up? Is there a WhatsApp group that people can join if they're interested in carpooling and stuff like that? Is there anything like that?
So we do have a WhatsApp group for the previous carpool. We're mobilizing probably through, We Demand Change is the main avenue that people are mobilizing through. We don't have something specifically for this just now. At the moment, it's looking like carpooling, so we'll look to kind of organize that. If people do want to join the We Demand Change group chat, feel free to speak to me afterwards. Otherwise, when we do have a group chat established for this mobilization, which we'll probably look to do probably towards the end of this week, so that people can get it planned in their diaries and things. Maybe I can contact yourself and you can pass it on, if that sounds okay.
Karen Reisman from Greater Manchester Mental Health Unison, and solidarity to all the strikers in Birmingham. We agreed at our last meeting to send a further donation of £500, and I think it's either gone through or about to go through, because we know that money is important, and I think if people have got branches that they can send money from, it is important that you carry on making those donations sort of at your monthly meetings, because sort of being sustained through it is an important part of it. I think it strikes me that people in Britain, working class people, are really, really pissed off. Many had sort of, well, some had some hope in a Labour government. Lots of people didn't have a lot of hope, but didn't really imagine it would be as bad. And I think that the amount of anger with the way that working class people are still being made to pay for a crisis that is not of our making, and not of, whilst the rich carry on getting richer and richer. And I think one of the things that people do is that they feel really unhappy and really angry, but don't know what to do about it. And I think a lot of our unions, I'm in Unison, have sat on our hands and sort of are not done nationally what they should do in order to fight. And there are sort of some sterling examples of small strikes that make a difference and are really inspirational. And I think because you are really committing yourself to a major fight, and you did get some really good publicity at the beginning, although, as you say, but it hasn't been as much there recently. I think it's important that we do share that and we do fight to be part of that, because I think when people are angry and they haven't got an inspirational, hopeful way of changing things for the better collectively, you see a real increase in some of that scapegoating and scepticism. And I think that's the consequence of us not doing more of this, and we have to therefore advertise the people who are doing it. I think I can't go because I'm having my hip replaced on Tuesday to your mass picket, but I do think there will be people who want to go, and I think we should agree to set up a WhatsApp group from today of people who might be interested in either going themselves, sort of, you know, and driving people down, or in advertising amongst their sort of branches or sort of campaign groups for people who want to go, so that we can begin that list and that building from it today. And so if people want to be part of it, maybe you could collect people's phone numbers and then put it on the list. I don't know if you can set one up here, because you're young. Yeah, you see, I knew. So if people can come to Marcus at the end and then give their, then there'll be a WhatsApp group specifically for that mass picket, because I think that makes it easier to have just a focused group on one thing that you know that you're building.
People might or might not have seen in the press today the news from Birmingham City Council that they're walking out of talks, you know, tearing up, you know, the attempt to resolve things at ACAS, and at the same time that they're threatening compulsory redundancies. In other words, they're threatening to dismiss the strikers. And obviously they've got to a situation where by illegally using agency workers, they've been able to run a lot of the service for a period of time without the strikers. And now this looks like an attempt to get rid of the strikers. So it's incredible escalation from a Labour council under a Labour government. And it does mean from our side, I think the solidarity has to be stepped up, because, you know, it was true before that they had to win. You know, we had to make sure they won. But in that situation, if they're trying to, you know, break a union, break a workforce, put them under that kind of pressure, we absolutely have to make sure they win. And I think that means it has to be made political. I mean, we've got Angela Rayner on our doorstep, right? She needs to have her life made a misery until this is resolved, you know. But, you know, there's some serious questions, aren't there? It's like, what about the rest of the workforce in Birmingham City Council? You know, surely they have issues they could be having a dispute about, even if technically they can't have come out in solidarity with the bin workers. They've got to know that if the bin workers get picked off, they're going to be next, haven't they, right? So why do we allow ourselves to get picked off one at a time rather than standing together? This is ABC, comrades, isn't it? You know, we know this from our history, that that's the wrong thing to do. So we've got to up the solidarity now. So just practically, in terms of the mega picket, there's a big pile of leaflets at the back if you didn't pick some up. I really don't, I've got a bad back. I don't want to take any home, right? So do take those away. The main organisers of it are a strike map, and they also run a strike club for Greater Manchester, which is like a WhatsApp group. So if people aren't in that, I'd encourage people to join it. Obviously, tonight's meeting's been organised by Manchester Trades Council. We have an email list and a WhatsApp announcement list. If you're not on those, go on our website, manchestertuc.org.uk, find out about future stuff like that. Obviously, if your branch isn't affiliated, affiliate. One of Mike's colleagues, Stephen's going to be up in Manchester in a couple of weeks at the Troublemakers at Work conference on Saturday the 26th. So that's an opportunity to continue that discussion as well. And as well as the mega picket, I mean, I'm one of the people who can't go that day, but, you know, Mike's made clear in all the visits we've been doing today, people can go any day, right? You don't have to wait for a mega picket. You can go down and show your support and do that.
Yeah, Ron Senchak, Unite member, retired, former branch president and executive member of the Print Workers Union, and organized many strikes myself. And full support and solidarity to you. I will be there on that day at the mass picket, and I will do everything I can to get as many people down there on that day, because it's so important. We need victories. Our class needs victories, and your fight has the potential for a victory. People will join the unions when we're winning. They don't like the unions, or they don't understand the unions if they can't see us winning. So it's so important. So solidarity, I bring it up at every picket when we have a Palestine, because they're very active around here, because everything is linked together. It's a political struggle. They made a decision not to pay you, to better the rest of the working class, to feed the rich and powerful. We won't stand for it. Solidarity forever.
Thank you. Hello, my name's Sarah. I'm branch secretary of the Independent Office for Police Conduct, believe it or not. And it's a constant surprise to me. And we had Stephen from the bin workers come and speak to a rally, one of our rallies a few weeks ago. And we obviously need to invite you back. This kind of escalation that Ian's talking about is absolute. People need to know about this. And obviously, you know, it's not going to be on the BBC, is it? So you have our total solidarity. And we are in dispute with our employer over being forced back into offices. And they announced this a few weeks after they had got rid of half of our office space. So it's like there's no logic to any of this. This is about the reimposition of control. It's nothing to do with whether or not you work in an office or not. We managed to carve out spaces for ourselves during the pandemic and enforce some we did pretty well in my place. We told them what we wanted and we got everything we wanted during the pandemic. And this is about reintroducing control and stuff. And your strike is obviously about making us accept whatever little they choose to give us. And we understand completely they will come for the public sector next. None of us will be safe in this situation. I mean, we've had years of below inflation pay rises as it is, you know. So yeah, so total solidarity, and we will ask you to come back and speak in another rally, and we will get people down to the mass pickets. Thank you.
My name's Caroline Bellamy. I'm a member of Unite at Senior Aerospace near Stockport. And we've been trying to raise awareness of, you know, what's happening, and we've run into the same thing, or isn't it all finished, and so forth. But one thing that really does strike me is, I mean, I think the mega picket is great, but an awful lot of people who would like to show their support on the street for you are going to be at work, and they're not going to be able to get time off for that. So I just wondered if there's any consideration being given to doing, I don't know, big demo or something in Birmingham on a Saturday or a Sunday that, you know, we could really mobilise around the country for. And I think Labour would like that.
I'm Stuart from Greater Manchester Stand Up to Racism. I first want to send out absolute solidarity on behalf of Stand Up to Racism to the Birmingham bin strikers, and I really hope you achieve that. 85% made me a bit confident. Maybe you can really win this victory, and it'll be really huge for the movement. Thank you. Many will have seen the growth of the far right recently. They've been attacking campaigns across the city. They recently attacked the trans rights demo in a violent way. They've been attacking the Palestine movement and lots of different things. And actually, it was in Birmingham where Britain First, the outwardly Nazi organisation, held a rally and announced that they would come to Manchester on the 2nd of August. That can't stand in this city. We are an anti-fascist city, and we must stop them at all costs. No pass around. They will not be allowed to pass. They are aiming to come on the 2nd of August to Piccadilly Gardens. We want to mobilise and be huge to not allow them any entry into the city and to spread their vile hatred, which is increasing across, in many ways, with agitators everywhere as well. I also want to point to the second part that we're leading to as well, which is Tommy Robinson. He's fresh out of prison. Guess what he's doing? He thinks he can unite these fascists. And to be honest with you, he's had some success in the past, and we know where that can lead. We saw what happened last summer. We can't give him that confidence. We want to send as many coaches as possible down to London from Manchester. To trade unionists, anyone who wants to speak to me afterwards and give me some contact details, there are model motions that exist. We want both funding, but we also want attendance at these in August and in September for Tommy Robinson. We want as many banners and as many calls out to members as much as possible. This cannot happen, and we have to stand now and act now.
Stop the War Coalition have organized a public meeting for the 24th of July at Friends Meeting House, 7 p.m. Trump imperialism in the Middle East and Stephen Kapos tour. Stephen Kapos was the Holocaust survivor who was questioned by the police for actually standing for Palestine. I gotta look this way, huh? Well, that's it. And just to say, just to say, they banned Palestine action. Only 10 Labour MPs voted against it. That is one of the most disgraceful votes ever in Parliament by the Labour Party. If there's 200 MPs, I don't believe the High Court would have made the same sort of decision, you know? And that's very, very important. So, build to stop the War Coalition. We want services. We don't want guns. We want welfare, not warfare. We've got to build a movement, build the pickets, and we have to link our arms in every single dispute that's around. So, solidarity.
We take on board weekend demonstrations, and I believe that will be happening. There is talks of it currently happening. Me personally, what an act of solidarity it would be if every refuse department across the country went on a go slow when it meant leaving the depots, meaning that activists can turn up to every refuse depot across the country, formulating a go slow, making sure that they're not the next ones that are entering a dispute. So, win for the Birmingham refuse workers is a win for everybody. So, I'm aware that every local authority where Unite is in the local authorities currently, I know that they've been put on notice. I know a lot of them have been issued notice from our General Secretary that if anybody, any council, any rosette colour that decides to go after any of our members in the workplaces, then expect repercussions to that. Because again, we're finding it more and more. The saying, working class people should not have to pay for the fat cats. There's a way out of this. There's a way out of this, and it's simple. Tax the rich.